A Noisy Day by Mr. Noisy. Hello, I'm Mr. Noisy. Sorry, I'll try to whisper, but it is very difficult being quiet when you're me. You see, I just can't help being noisy. Everything I do noisily. For instance, I went to the cinema the other day, and I bought a packet of crisps to eat during the film. Well, each bite I took sounded like 100 milk bottles being smashed to smithereens. Nobody could hear the film. Believe it or not, I was trying to eat them quietly, but I couldn't, and I had to leave the cinema. Then there was the time I went to the library to read a book. Now, you would have thought that reading a book is one of the quietest things you can do. It probably is, that is, unless you are like me. Clomp, clomp, clomp went my shoes as I tiptoed around the library looking for a book. Bang went the book when I put it down on the table. Scrape went the chair when I pulled it in. Rustle, rustle, rustle went the pages as I turned them. It was no good. I couldn't even read a book quietly. So I had to leave the library as well. As you can see, it is not easy being me. Most of the time people think I'm a terrible nuisance. But there was one whole day when everyone was very glad I am as noisy as I am. It was the day I went to the seaside. I caught the bus at the bottom of the hill below my house. "One ticket for the railway station, please," I said, in what I thought was a quiet voice, but the bus driver nearly fell out of his bus. On the way to the station, we got stuck in a dreadful traffic jam. While we were waiting, a fire engine came up behind us. They were trying to get to a fire, but couldn't get through because their siren was broken. I hopped onto the fire engine. "Out of the way! Fire engine coming through!" I yelled in my loudest voice, which is very, very loud. Instantly, all the cars in Wobbletown High Street moved out of the way. "Oh, thank you very much," said the fire chief, and they rushed off to put out the fire. The station was in chaos when I reached it. There were people running around in every direction, shouting and bumping into each other. The station's loudspeakers did not work, and nobody knew which train was leaving from which platform. I went up to the station master, who was looking very worried. "I may be able to help," I said. I stood on an upturned box. "The Seaside Express will be leaving from platform 1. The Tiddletown train will leave from platform 2. And the Nonsense Land train is waiting at platform 3. I shouted at the top of my voice. All the passengers happily made their way to their trains. The station master smiled at me. It's not very often that someone smiles at me when I've just shouted at the top of my voice. "Well, thank you very much," he said. On the way to Seatown, the train suddenly stopped in the middle of the countryside. I climbed down from my carriage and went and asked the train driver why we had stopped. "The engine has lost its whistle, and we can't go any further without a whistle," she explained. I smiled. "I may be able to help," I said, and climbed up into the engine cab. "All aboard!" I shouted. And then I whistled my very loudest whistle, which was much louder than any train whistle. The train driver smiled. "Oh, thank you very much," she said. And off we set again for the seaside. We soon arrived, only to find Seatown shrouded in fog. It was so thick that if I had a nose, I would hardly have been able to see it on my face, and I certainly couldn't see the nose on anybody else's face. I went to the Seaview Hotel. There was nobody at the front desk. I rang the bell. Ding! The manager rushed out of his office looking very shaken. "I'd like a room for the week, please," I said in my very quietest whisper. "Sorry, I can't hear you," said the manager. "The sound of the bell is still ringing in my ears." "I'd like a room, please," I said a little louder. The manager nearly fell over backwards. He heard me that time. After tea, I went down to the beach. It was still very, very foggy. As I walked along, a man who was running up the beach bumped into me. "Oh, I'm sorry," said the man, "but I'm in a terrible rush. I'm the lighthouse keeper, and the foghorn in the lighthouse is broken. I don't know what to do." "I do," I said, and smiled. "I'm sure you can guess what I did next." That's right. I climbed to the top of the lighthouse and shouted, "Beware of the rocks," all night long. The rest of my stay at the seaside was much quieter. You'll never guess why, but I'll tell you. All that shouting had made me lose my voice.